All right, guys, welcome back. It's been quite a while. I don't know how
It's
long it's
been
been.
four
It's
months.
been 4 months since life happens. We get caught up in things. It's tough in day-to-day stuff to
Yeah.
put like, okay, we're gonna slot this time aside.
Plus, I feel like with this kind of thing, like even with like vlogging, because we're back coming back vlogging too. It's like you have to be in the right mood, because if you're not in the mood to do it, it's not going to turn out well. You
Yeah,
know.
it's when you force it, it usually doesn't turn out as good because you're not in the right headspace for it, and you're not gonna.
And if you're not enjoying it, it's going to feel forced. And
Yeah, so sorry guys, it's been such a long time. For the people who are watching this like way later on, it'll be as if no time has passed. It's kind of like on a TV show when you're waiting in between seasons versus when you buy it out later on DVD or when it comes out and you
or
could just
books
bin
even.
or books too. Right now we're waiting for Onyx Storm.
Yeah.
We've buddy
Well, I read them
you
first.
read them first. It wasn't
And he
exactly a
read
buddy
them
read, but
second, and then we're gonna buddy read Onyx Storm. But yeah, it's like that. It's like for somebody who's gonna pick it up when Onyx Storm comes out, they're gonna read Fourth Wing Iron Flame Onyx Storm like
no
back to
problem.
back with no year break. You know what I mean? And we.
And that's usually a good thing in a lot of ways because I find when you hype yourself up and you're waiting,
The
sometimes
anticipation.
sometimes you can build it up in your head and it's way better in your head than it actually turns out to be. Every once in a while it exceeds your expectations, but usually it's not as good as you think you
Yeah.
think it is in your head.
So that's what we've been up to.
Yeah.
Reading, working.
You just get caught up in that and the stuff that you have to do, there's so much of it already that it's just hard to keep up and it's just so much of things goes by so quick. I felt like I know I'm not the only one, but I feel like 2019 and 2020 starting from there to now has gone by so
Oh
fast.
yeah.
So fast. It feels like it's been barely 2 years.
This year felt at first like it was going quick, and now it's kind of slowed down for me. I feel like it should be like November already,
Yeah.
but this year went by quick. Like we're in September already.
And I felt like once we moved here, it went quick. Like the
Yeah,
4 years we've been here, it's gone by so fast. And so it's tough when you're caught up in all these things and all these things that you have to do and stuff that you would like to do. It would be fun to do, but it's just time runs out and you have to try to make time if you can. And that's what we are here
yeah.
today. We usually try to have some bullet points to talk about for the episodes, and one of the main ones today is what is something as a child that was easy for you as a child, but as an adult it gets tougher, and then the opposite of that, what is easier as an adult that is tougher as a child. So do you want to start off
One
with the
of the
first
things
one?
I feel like, and I feel like a lot of people can agree with, is it was easier to make friends when you're a kid.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's because you're in school and you're kind of forced proximity with people, but it's easier to make friends when you're a child. I feel like even when you become a mother, you lose friends very, I mean, you obviously can't relate, but
Yeah.
you lose friends very quickly. And I think the funny thing about it is you will go to a place of work, which is basically very similar environment to like school,
Right.
and you'll say, okay, I have this friend, and I made a friend while I'm at work, and you'll think, okay, this is going to be my friend now. Like, we're adults, so you're not just going to become friends and not, this job is not the anchor that's holding this friendship together. Wait until you leave the job. Because I've had it happen a lot where you're with these people and you hang out outside of work and you have great friendship and you talk about stuff, and then the minute you quit the job or something happens or they leave, you never hear from them again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think we've both experienced that.
Yeah, I think as a kid, as a child, you have don't have that many experiences, and there's a lot of things that come along with years and years of living life, and there's many different things that can come about from that. One of it is you work with or have been around hundreds of people, and it's amazing how over time how little in the grand scheme of things in your life, they play just a small role, just a small moment of time in your life. Whether you work with them or whether it's your dentist or your barber or whoever you go to, that for that time that you're with them, you can try to make it as good as it can be, and maybe it is even a positive experience. But
Right.
it's still just a very tiny moment, fraction of your life. And the more of those that you have, the more people that you've worked with or have known and have come and gone by, I think that's also why friendships get more difficult, because you just realize you've had so many of those that have come and gone over the
Yeah,
years.
that's what I was gonna say. It's like
Yeah.
it is one of those situations where I feel like in anything, you can only put yourself out there so much. You can only be like, I'm gonna go all in with this friendship so much before you're like, I just want to go to work and go home and not be friends with any of these people.
Right.
Like, yeah, having a friend at work does make it more enjoyable.
Right.
Having somebody to talk to, somebody with similar interests or whatever, does make going to work more enjoyable. But it's like, I don't want to think this person's my friend and then something happens, they quit, I quit, and I never talk to them again. So
Right.
I'm just going to not make friends. And I mean, I feel like that's in any situation.
Right.
It's like, part of me is like, oh, I would love to be like, have a book club or, a Bible study group or something. But then it's like, well, we also are very anxious. Well, at least have social anxiety, so it's like then I have to meet new people. And then what if these people I think they're my friend and they're not? Because that's
Right.
happened so many times that you're like, maybe I'm not as good a judge of people as
I
I think I am.
I know what that's like, and
Yeah.
that's part of what being adult versus a child is tougher too, because you have so many negative experiences that have stacked up over the years, and there's that natural thing. I forget what it's called, but it's basically it takes three positive things to equal out one negative
Right.
thing, and our bias towards negativity is so strong because I think it might be part of evolution. The people who counted their blessings and was grateful for everything and didn't see the negatives, they didn't survive as much as the people that was tried to find problems and solve those problems and were very problem focused. Those people survived more, so that got passed on over the years. At least that's one of the theories.
Yeah.
But you have these so many negative experiences stacked up with people over time that I'm just done.
Yeah.
I'm just
You're like, I don't need friends. Like, I've said that, like, out loud. Because I've had people that I think are my friends. This has happened multiple times on and off YouTube. Oh, I think this person's my friend. This is going to be a great friend. And then,
nope.
nope. But the thing is, too, is with me, I feel like the older I've gotten, and I know that you've noticed this about me, I'm more ready to, I'm done.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need negative people. I don't care how long we've been friends. I have certain friends that I consider my good friends. I have two really good friends. You don't count in that because you have to be my friend. No, I'm kidding. You don't count in that because I'm not talking about you right now.
Yeah.
But I have two friends outside of my current relationship that I think are like, these are my best friends. And these people, it doesn't matter what they do. It doesn't matter. I mean, within reason. You go killing something, then we're going to have to talk. But
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, within reason, it doesn't really matter. Like, we can argue. We cannot get along for a certain period of time. But we're always going to be friends. And I feel like they say if you're friends with somebody for more than, I think it's like 10 years, you're basically friends for life.
Right.
Because in 10 years, you've grown as a person. You know what I mean? The two people I'm talking about are Connor's dad, which we have Connor, so you have to, getting along and being friends makes that whole experience a lot easier.
It does, yeah.
And my friend Misty, who's been on the vlogs before.
Yeah.
Those are the two people. I have known both of these people since 2006.
Right.
That's 10 years before I even met you.
It's been a long time.
It's been almost 20 years I've known these people. And we've had arguments and we've not gotten along and we've, gone through a divorce with Chris, not Misty. And And you know what I mean? We've gone through all these things and we still are like, you know what? I still would, help you if you were stranded on the side of the road. You're still my friend. I will still call you if I have a problem I need to vent. You know what I mean? Or you can call me or message me if you have a problem you need to vent.
Right.
Like when Chris's brother passed away, I was the first, after his dad, I was the first person he called. You know what I mean? So it's like but it's hard as adults to find friends like that. And the only reason I found Misty was because she was friends with Chris.
Right.
So it's like, and the only reason I met Chris is because we worked together. So it's really hard. That is a very rare occurrence that you can actually find people that you're like, this is it, buddy. We cannot get rid of each other because,
Yeah, I think the other context or component that's important too is that we're introverted.
Yeah.
We're not like, I think I'm more introverted than you are,
Yeah,
but
you
I think
are.
we're like 60-40 or 70-30 introvert to extrovert ratio, which if you're introverted, you need social interaction even less than an extroverted person.
Right.
So that's even more, for me, and having to go to work or having to go to school where the social interaction is such a vital component and is so valued in those situations, you've already had more than enough social interaction that you would want or need. And then once you're off work or off school, you're just so done with social interaction at that point. Your capacity and desire for social interaction has already been met and exceeded, that you don't really have any room left for hardly any friends. Like there's very little time left to begin with that you have on your own free time as an introvert, let alone set aside time for a friend as well.
And I feel like with that is like going into the fact of you only have so much time in your life, period.
Yeah.
That it's like I only really call Chris or Misty when I'm either leaving the house to come get you from work, which I usually leave about half an hour early. So I want to have a conversation. I don't want to have like 5 minutes. You know what I mean? We have a conversation. But the minute you get in the car, I hang up the phone. And it's not because I don't want you to hear what I'm talking about.
Right.
This is you and me time now.
Right.
This is our time. You've been working all day. I've been at the house working all day. This is our time to talk now. And it's not about, because a lot of the time I do have Chris on the phone. And it's not about, I don't want you to hear what we're talking about. Anything I say to Chris, I would say in front of you. It doesn't,
exactly.
You know what I mean?
I just know at that moment you prioritize me.
I'm prioritizing you. I don't want to be having this conversation about, the shed project or something Connor said or did. Or, you know what I mean? I would rather talk to you about your day at work or whatever, because we have that new rule about work.
Yeah.
And I would rather talk to you about that and get you so you can vent. And this is our time to be together now.
Right. That rule is basically within the car, I talk about work, and then once I get home, we leave work at work, and that way, and I try to have that philosophy too of keeping work and private life very separated from each other, and that's another reason why I don't usually, it's incredibly rare for me to make friends at work. I try to get along with my coworkers, I try to be cooperative and friendly, and sometimes I'll even share stuff occasionally, or we'll have conversations about shared hobbies or interests or stuff. But once I'm clocked out, and then I leave, and then I'm done.
Yeah.
And I'm naturally more that way to begin with anyways. And there might be, I've worked with hundreds of people, there might be maybe 2 people I keep in contact with out of...
And it's sporadic, though. It's not like you guys are talking every day, texting each other.
Yeah.
It is sporadic.
And I like these people.
Right.
I've had plenty of positive experiences. But once again, as an introvert, and there's very little time anyways, and any desire I have for social interaction, so much of that gets taken up by work, whether I want to socially interact or not. That's what work is. That is a component of most. Yeah, you have to socially interact with people. That's just the job. And then whatever little of that capacity or desire I have left, I have for you and for family here.
Right.
And then after that, there's just almost nothing. There's almost nothing left after that.
And it's like the older you get, the more I feel like I'm like, I just don't want to have this. Like, you know what? I do have moments where I'm like, I can't call this person. I can't talk to this person. Because I just do not have it in me to listen to this or to... No offense, guys, if they won't hear this anyway. But to listen to this or to, you know when you're at your best. You know when you could be like, okay, I'm going to call this person, have a conversation. I'm going to listen to all their problems. And it's going to be great. You know when you can do that.
And then you know at the moment that you're just
and you know
tired,
when you're like,
drained. Yeah, I'm just
like right now, because I was out all morning with my mom, which I love going out. Like I love going. It's like right now, if somebody called me, I would be like, decline.
yeah.
I can't. Oh, that's you. I can't do it. Like I can't, and that's why I think it is easier as a kid because you're not. I mean, you might be introverted when you're a child, but you're a little bit more outgoing because you literally have to. But the thing is, even when I was a kid, I was outgoing and friendly at school. But when I got home, I want to be in my room watching TV.
Yep,
I want to play with my dog. I want to, watch cartoons with my dad. Me and my dad would play video games. He had an Atari. I had that Mother Goose computer game I played.
I remember you telling me about.
You know what I mean,
There's
though?
so many good fun games.
That's what I want to do. I had a bike for about a week. I fell, almost got hit by a car, and I was done with that. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't want to go outside. And I did have friends in the neighborhood. Like, I would go out and go down the street and stuff. But then they started doing, kids are just mean.
Yeah.
It's like, I only had enough patience to deal with that at school.
Right. And I think that's where sometimes extroverted people sometimes there are extroverted people that get it, that get what it's like and have empathy of what it's like to be introverted.
Right.
And those people are great. And there's good and bad extroverts and introverts out there. But there are some of the ones that are more misguided where they think, oh, you're broken and you need to be fixed and you need to go hang out with your friends, rather than, because that's safer and that's better than going and staying
Being
inside
at
and
home
playing.
in your room, and yeah.
And some of it makes sense because you need to be socialized and because that's a component of work and you have to socialize to get work done. But there's so many times where I would go out and I would just get bullied so bad, physically and mentally just bullied by going out. And I'd be at home and I would play video games or I'd watch movies and I would be fine.
Right.
And sometimes they get it right and sometimes they don't. And that's just one of the situations in which they got it wrong, where they would be like, go play with your friends, and then your friends would jump you. Your friends.
That's the other thing I don't like, and we've discussed this, is that now, and I noticed this when Connor was in kindergarten, and I loved his TK teacher. I loved her. She was a wonderful lady. You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I loved her. But I hate the fact that they say, oh, do we hit our friends? Not everybody in this classroom is your friend. And I hate that we're teaching our kids that everybody in your classroom, this is your friend. Because then you're teaching children, and this is my own personal parenting opinion. You're going to have a different one, that's fine. You're teaching your kids that everybody's your friend. And even if your friend hits you, as long as they say they're sorry,
they're still your
it's okay, because we're all still friends.
Yeah.
They're not your friend. If they
No.
hit you, they're not your friend. I remember having this conversation with Connor because he was horribly bullied when he was in kindergarten and first grade and stuff. And, had kids smacking him, slamming his head into tables in kindergarten when he's like 5. And them saying, oh, we try to teach them, keep your hands off your friends. Well, these are not your friends.
Right.
Not everybody in the world is going to be your friend.
Right. Sometimes that happens, especially with extroverted people. The barrier to entry for someone to be a complete stranger to suddenly being a friend can be so low sometimes. Not in every case of extroverts, but it tends to be more common with that, where you just barely meet someone, shake their hand, oh, you're my friend now, all of a sudden.
Acquaintance does not, there is nothing. There is no such thing as acquaintance. You're straight into besties. Yeah. And I can't handle that.
No.
There's a guy that I like at Target that's a very nice man. You know what I'm talking about. I know him. And I'll come in and he'll be like, oh my God, I'm so glad you're here. Because he knows I work retail too. I have a story to tell you. And he'll tell me his little customer service stories and stuff like that. He works there. But it's like, I would never say, this is my friend.
Right.
Like, we're acquainted together. He's a very nice man, and I really do enjoy his customer service. It's great. I like his stories and stuff, but I wouldn't say we're friends.
Right, and that's the other thing, too, is it's very black and white. It's either you're my friend and I like you, or if you're not my friend, I don't like you.
Yeah.
which is not the case. There's so many people that I got along with well enough to get the work done and get or in school to you can coexist with them well enough just to do
Right.
what you have to do. But that doesn't mean you hate them, and it doesn't mean that you love them. It just means for having to be around these people and get these objectives done,
You can cooperate
you can
enough.
cooperate well enough. And then, but
Yeah.
when you go home, you can go home and you can choose to be whoever you want to choose to be with. I think that's one of the other things too that's easier as a kid, as an adult, is trusting in authority figures and trusting that they have your best interests at heart and they know what your best interests are and they know this. Like I said before, go out with your friends, go have fun because playing video games is not going to be good for you. And then you go get bullied over and over and over again. And then the people that you trust to safeguard your safety, the teachers and stuff, which being a teacher is not easy. It's incredibly difficult.
Right.
I'm not criticizing teachers in this case, but I'm just saying, as a kid, you trust that these authority figures are going to have your back, they're going to protect you, you're going to be okay. And sometimes that is the case. Sometimes that happens, but there's a lot of cases where that doesn't happen.
And I think you and I have both been through that.
Yeah.
For me, I don't know how old you were, but for me, it was in high school. Like, I'm old enough to know that this is not okay, what's happening right now, but you're my teacher. So I'm going to trust that this is legal and okay because, and I'll tell the story, but, because I don't want to make it sound like it was like anything, it was serious, but it wasn't like crazy. But I'm going to trust that this is okay because you're a teacher and this woman had me. I was in FFA. If you don't know what that is, Future Farmers of America. It's like a 4-H club. I was in high school. And this woman had me bare hands in 100% bleaching out buckets because I didn't show up to an FFA meeting that was after school because I think I had a funeral to go to or something that was serious. It wasn't like I was just blowing it off. And, it's like, okay, well, clearly this is good because... And then realizing later, like, no, that's not normal. That's not okay. But, we've both had experiences like that where it's like, this is not fair what's happening right now.
Yeah.
But you don't realize it until,
it's only
you're
later
older.
as an adult you realize that person who I put so much... As a kid, you put these people on pedestals. You put people on pedestals. Oh, my dad is my hero. My mom is my hero. These authority figures, these teachers, they're these superheroes.
Yeah.
Which, even if they mean well and they try hard, they're still very flawed people. And then, as a kid, it's easy to see things very utopian and very perfect and everything. And then you see the cracks and the flaws. As the older you get, the more messed up stuff you see.
Right.
And more flawed things you see. And then you start to expect everything to be messed up and for things to fail and for things to go wrong. Because there's so many times you've had your expectations so high or so up here, and then you don't think that they're really high. You think this is natural.
Normal.
This is what should be expected. This is good behavior, and then to be hit by disappointment and hurt and pain so many times, and so you start to expect bad things because at least if something good happens, you're pleasantly surprised. Whereas if not, then you just keep crashing down each time.
I feel like that's where a lot of my problems come from.
Yeah.
Like, not trying to be like...
And that can help protect you in some ways. It's a coping mechanism of sorts, and it can help you in some ways. But the bad part is you're stuck very down for quite a while that way. And it is risky to put yourself back up to a neutral spot or a slightly positive spot at the risk of being crashing down. But to live permanently or semi-permanently down there for quite a while, that's not good either. So it's a tough balance between the two, where you try to hope for the best, but you try to prepare for the worst at the same time if you can.
Yeah.
And you try to be optimistic or try to hope that things will work well and work towards good things, but that's the one thing as a kid, is that you start out having such high hopes and things and in placing your faith in people and situations, and to be disappointed over and over and over again.
It's like, even now, it's like I find it very hard to enjoy things. Like when we're getting a puppy, or we're not getting a puppy. We got one like 6 months ago, but you're getting a puppy or this, that. Well, I've had situations in the past where I've been so excited because we're going to get this puppy. And then the person giving you the puppy says, oh, never mind, I gave it to somebody else. I had that happen so much when I was younger that I'm like for instance with Poe, the pug, we just had him neutered. I literally wouldn't buy, and we had him for 4 months before we got him neutered, and I literally would not buy any pug stuff. Because I'm like, well, when he gets neutered, because I did have a dog that when he got neutered, he passed away after.
It was tough.
And
I
thought,
really,
yeah, it was bad.
It was really bad.
And I thought, well, I'm not gonna get anything that's like a pug, like little stickers or, like you get little stuffed animals that look like your dog. Like I have a Squishmallow that's a black poodle like Pete. You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm not gonna get any of this stuff until he makes out of his neuter. Because in my mind, I'm going to get this stuff, and this is going to be what causes, and this is anxiety, folks, or OCD or something. But this is going to be, I'm going to be so excited and get all this stuff, and then something's going to happen to him when he gets neutered.
Yep.
And then I'm going to have to get rid of all this stuff, and it's going to be a reminder
of
everything that happened, and that something happened to him. And it made it very, very hard to enjoy when he was a puppy. Because the whole time, at least for me, Nick is more like, I love him, this is it. Like, I'm good. Like, I'm so happy, I love him so much. And I'm very like, okay, well, let's wait until he gets out done with his neuter, and then we'll do this. And then we'll, you know what I mean? Because I feel like I can't handle it.
Right.
You know I don't handle disappointment well. And and it's not even like, I'm like, okay, if you get disappointed, you're going to be really pissed off. It just comes out.
It does, yeah. And it's sort of tough to weigh out in your head what side is the best overall to err on. You err on the side of always thinking things are going to go bad, but then you rob yourself of joy doing that.
Yeah.
And time. Times you could have been happy. Times you could have been either in a neutral state or a positive state versus, being in a positive state most of the time, but then something really bad happens and then being really down.
And it's hard.
It's hard.
So hard. And when you lived almost your entire life being like, okay, well, don't enjoy this until you know for sure. Okay, just wait. It's really hard to not do that. Even if in your head you're like, okay, today I'm going to get up and I'm going to enjoy the day and I'm going to have a good day and it's going to be great. In the back of your mind, you're like, oh, but, don't have too good of a day. Because, what if this doesn't last or what, it's just a nightmare.
And so I tried to find the balance between the two. I tried to think positive but also guard myself too, mentally guard myself if some type of disappointment happens and that type of thing. But it's tougher as an adult versus a kid
I have a good situation to think about being disappointed. We love those chickens.
Oh, this is going to be
very
tough.
Love those chickens so much. We had 5 chickens.
First chickens we've ever had.
The first chickens we've ever
had, for sure.
I've never had a chicken before either. The first chickens we ever had, 2 of them I got from Tractor Supply. Actually, there was 4, but when you get baby chickens from Tractor Supply, if they don't last 2 days, they're, you know what I mean. They weren't. And we had 2 that died the next day after I bought them, and it was no fault of my own. It was just they're like 2 days old. You know what I mean? They're just very young chickens. But anyway. And we had 2 that made it. And then I hatched the other ones. The other 3 I hatched myself.
Yeah, the incubator,
I had the incubator. We watched them hatch. We did place some of them in good homes with that lady. And, but I did watch them hatch and everything. And it was like the coolest thing ever. And we built this whole area and it was great. And we checked the city limits and we were good and everything. And we had these chickens for over a year.
And they were our pets. And
they were our pets, and we loved them. And even though we had to go out there twice a day, and it was irritating, and sometimes in the middle of the night, Nick would have to go out, make sure they were okay.
There'd be a cat that would come up out of nowhere, scared them out of nowhere. They would be screaming in the night. It was scary because I never knew if I would wake up, if I would go out there, and if they would be okay or not.
Yeah. But, there was inconveniences of it, but we would have continued to do it.
Yeah.
Is the thing. We love those chickens so much, the 5 of them, that we would have continued to do it. And the the neighbors next door, we call them the chicken haters. Even though the kid was out there and he was like, "Oh, I love chickens," like blah, 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 like their grandson, they called the county on us and they came and told us we had to get rid of them.
And had we known it, we wouldn't have even started.
Had we known, we wouldn't have
We
started. But
thought it was okay.
not only that, had they come over themselves and said, "Hey, it wasn't noisy." First of all, they were very quiet during the day. There was an occasional time that they would scream in the night because of the cat. But there's dogs that bark louder than they would
Right.
squawk. You know what I mean? But had they come over and said, "Hey, they're kind of loud. Like, is there any way you could move them?" Or we would have either made our two smallest chickens that were like our children. I mean, they all were, but the two
Those were
small
the
ones
first
were
two,
the
yeah.
first two we had, and they were very special to us. But had they said something, we would have made them house chickens or whatever, But they called the county. County came and said, "You need to, you need to place them, and or they say you need to get rid of them. You need to take down the coop." And so, yeah, we just had to get rid of them. And it was the saddest thing that ever happened. And a woman came and got them, and she said that she was going to be the perfect home. And Nick went out there, and he was helping load them up, and he had an experience with her that maybe should have been a red light. But in hindsight, you're always...
Yeah, and there was a lady before her that where we placed some of the roosters because we were trying not to be that loud.
Yeah, we were trying not to be loud. We didn't have any roosters. We had 5 hens that were very quiet. Yeah. But I guess it just wasn't good enough.
And that lady we gave them off to before, she was a good lady. Everything seemed, as far as I know.
Yeah.
But this lady, the lady we gave our chickens to, she was like, "Oh, you can visit them and you'll be able to be okay and everything." And to this day,
still don't know
I still do not know. She told so many different stories. There was one where she said she gave it to a farm or something, gave them to a farm.
Yeah.
I think one of the stories was they got poached or something.
Yeah, I don't know. It was so weird. And then she said one of them died. It was just like the weirdest. And you feel so... I know we kind of went off the rails here, but
yeah, a little bit,
you
but
feel so guilty about it. Like,
yeah.
we still, to this day, and this was like 2 or 3 years ago now.
Yeah.
To this day, me and Nick feel so horribly, horribly guilty about it. Because it's like, had I not had to get rid of them quickly, I could have made a plan. I could have screened people better. I could have done a lot of things.
Yeah.
But you're like in a panic. You don't want the neighbors pissed off constantly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was just, and that was one of those moments. The minute they called and they said that, I was in tears. And that was one of those disappointments. Like, you're going about your day like, "Oh, it's a great day. I went out that morning. I got my eggs. I let my chickens out. I did the whole thing." You're having a good day, and it was just out of literally nowhere.
Right.
That's the stuff that gets you.
Yeah, out of nowhere. And then it's not even high expectations for neighbors to be able to talk to you and say, "Hey, they're being a bit loud or this or that. Can you reduce them or something?" Or just the smallest of expectations, just a simple courtesy to talk to us about it.
Yeah.
But no, not even that. That was too much. That was too high of an expectation to place on, and that's what I mean is you have situations like that where people are just do hurtful and things and are just disappointing. And then the lady also that we gave them to, we still don't know what happened to those. We don't know if they got eaten or by people or animals or if they got placed to a farm and they're okay and we just don't know. We'll never know.
We would scour Craigslist. We've stopped doing that now, but we would Nick would be looking on the Facebook just to see if maybe somebody got him and was trying to place them.
Yeah.
He would send me pictures. I remember you were sending me pictures
I was on
like, is this Shane? Is this Gray? Like, he would be sending me pictures.
Yeah, and we still don't know, and we'll probably never know.
Because I remember I messaged her. I was probably 2 or 3 months after, and we had said, "You know what we could do? We could have brought the two, Shane and Gray. We could have brought the 2 little ones in the house." They were bantams. They were very, very small chickens. We could have built them a little coop in here. They would have been fine. They were perfectly happy just to follow Nick around. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
they would have been fine in the house. But, I messaged her. I said, I will literally give you $50 a chicken. That's how much they were worth to me. Like, I would have given her $300.
Yeah.
You know, I just wanted them back. I know that they weren't going to live forever. I feel like I'm going to cry. But I just wanted those chickens back. I just wanted some kind of closure. No, they're okay or something.
Yeah, that was the toughest thing because a lot of times in life, no matter how bad something is, you at least have some type of closure. But with this, we
have no
don't.
and that's the hard part.
We'll never know. And the only closure I've been able to come up with myself is that all roads lead to death. Eventually, that no matter what happened to them, eventually they'll die, and we'll never know how they died or when they died. But we'll know that they're basically, I just think of them as dead at this point. And I've had nightmares. I've had ones where it's just complete darkness and they're screaming out to me for help and I can't help them and they're being ripped apart. And I've had ones where I was at a petting zoo and a chicken came up to me and said it's okay and put its wing around me. And I've had another one where it was a chicken, just bones, but still alive. Just cowering and shaking.
And the thing is that people don't get it. They don't get it, but those were our pets.
And I know culturally I've eaten chicken before. It's a whole different thing when it's a pet that you have. It's a whole different mindset that you have. I know culturally I would say, okay, we have cats, we have dogs. Most people culturally here do not eat cats or dogs, but it's almost that same kind of a thing, whereas imagine eating your dog or your cat, or imagine your cat or dog being eaten or not knowing what happened to them. And that's the other component too, is that were they eaten by humans or were they eaten by animals or they could have been on a farm just fine. You go through all these things in your head,
now, but
we'll probably never know because she's not willing to tell us, and there's no way to compel her or ask her and any more than we already have tried. But it's just one of those things again where putting your faith in people and being disappointed and trying to have an optimistic point of view and then just
they knock you down off their pedestal of, and then you have to, and the thing is it's like you're never, you know what I mean, like I'm never gonna be nice to them again.
Yeah, like
I'm never gonna be nice to them again. The only reason I would ever even help them was if it was threatening something in my home.
Right. And
I do not understand it. And I never will.
I don't understand how the neighbors could be the way they were, or the lady either. I don't.
Because here's the thing:
it's bad enough to have one or the other, but to have both happen, we're still good on time.
Here's the thing, is because, I've come to accept that not everybody is like me. You know what I mean? Like, and you've taken a little bit longer to realize that, because you'll be like, I don't understand why anybody would do this or that thing, and I'm like, well, not everybody's like you, but it takes a long time to realize not everybody's going to react to everything the way you react to it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so I realized that to them, coming from wherever they came from, because they are not originally from here, and neither are we really, but to them, they're probably just food. Oh, who cares? They had them outside. Like, how much can they really care about them? Like, they're not their pets. They're just for eggs or whatever. You know what I mean? But it's like, if their dogs were barking constantly right here at the window, which they have, I haven't heard them in a very long time, but they have done before, early in the morning, right here barking, because our window is to their backyard, basically. I would never, even now,
after
everything they've done to me, I would never call the county on their dogs. I would never call the county because they're recreationally smoking marijuana in their backyard. Yeah. And I can smell it when I'm out trying to be in my pool or out in my backyard or whatever. I would never, ever, ever call somebody on them. And that's the part that bugs you. Like, I would have never done this to you. I would have never done this to you. Why would you do this to me? I feel like that's the most hurtful thing sometimes.
Yeah, it's people treat you the same way.
People treat you a way you would never imagine treating somebody. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. And it's tough when you and then you stop liking people as much, and you don't want to be around people as much
Yeah.
because stuff like that happens.
And I feel like when you're a kid, just to bring it back around, it's easier to be a little bit more resilient with things. When you're a kid, something bad happens, your hamster dies, your cat passes away, whatever. Although my cat lived until I was married, but still, she lived to be 18, so I didn't really go through that. But you know what I mean? Like with the dog, it was sad and it was extremely traumatic. And I was about 16 years old, but it's not, now I'm like, I would have reacted differently to that situation now than I did then, or I felt like I couldn't even handle it. Um, I would probably be upset, but I would be a little, and I feel like when you're a kid, though, like younger than that, you're a little bit more resilient and you're a little bit more like, oh, that's really sad that happened. But the more it happens, the more it's like knocks you down and it's harder to get back up.
Yeah, because they stack up.
Because it's like today I went to
They build up.
it builds up, and it's like today I went to Tractor Supply and I'm taking pictures of the chickens because eventually I'm gonna get small chickens again and have two in the house and we're gonna have house chickens. Yeah. That is the goal. Eventually I will do that. Tell me I can't have something inside the house that I own. Tell me, because you know what I mean? They're not going to come in my house, but this is the thing. Eventually I will, but it's like I'm taking pictures of them and I'm sending the pictures to you, and the whole time I'm thinking, well, these are cute, but I can't get too attached.
Right.
Because what if something happens? And I hate that. I hate that that's reality.
Right. One of the things that helped me, and I wish it was, part of me wishes it wasn't this way, is when I was on the groups looking for them, I've seen so many stories of other people, of like a hawk got one,
Yeah.
or the coyotes came in and there was just feathers everywhere, or other situations in which other people lost their chickens.
Yeah.
And it's sad. It's sad to see, and I wish it didn't happen. I wish we were the only ones, but at the same time, on another level, it's I don't know if therapeutic is the right word, but
comforting.
There's some type of comfort in knowing that other people have gone through something similar.
That you're not a bad owner. This stuff happens,
Yeah, this is quite fairly common when you own chickens.
I think the part that bothers us the most is that it's another. They were in it. It was another person.
Right.
Like I feel like I would have felt better, and this is gonna sound awful. I would have felt better if, like, the cat got in the coop and grabbed him, and that was it, and we never saw him again.
Yeah.
Because at least then I would know. There is a closure in that. There's a closure in being like, they probably got eaten. There's just feathers here, they got eaten.
Yeah. And as sad as that would still be sad, but there's something to not having closure with things.
That bothers you.
Yeah.
It's like an open end. It's like a cliffhanger in a book that there's no sequel.
Because you go through that loop in your head, both good and bad things that could have happened, or a mix of the two. Did they die of heat exhaustion? Because they can get very hot here.
Yeah.
And if they were neglected or whatever, that could be a possibility. Did they get eaten by coyotes? Did they go to a farm where they were actually okay and taken care of? Yeah, you just don't know. And we will never know, likely. In all likelihood, we will never know. We have to come up with some type of closure in my head. And the one I came up with is that they're dead. Because no matter what path of all those options we went over, it all leads to death in the end, ultimately.
The thing is this is the two things that help, and this is going to sound like Nick is saying, and it sound like the first time he said, I was like, oh God, that sounds bad, but these are the two options. Oops, sorry, I did not mean to flip you off. I couldn't see that. But these are the two options. They're either dead, or they're in a coop somewhere very happy in a big coop, and they're having a good old time, and they don't even remember us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I hope for them.
Yeah. But
it was tough though. That was hard.
I've been through traumatic things, and there's many traumatic things that I haven't been through, and I'm grateful that I haven't been through those things. But out of all the traumatic things I've been through, I think that ranks the top 3 probably, or even the top 1. And I'm grateful I haven't been through all the traumatic things that I could have gone through, but I've been through my fair share, and
that was crazy.
Ranks up there though. is there anything else you wanted to talk about as far as what's easier or what's tougher as an adult versus a kid? Or we're gonna do the opposite thing. What's easier as an adult than it was as a kid?
What's easier as an adult?
I think letting go. Letting
Nothing.
go. Everything is better when no. I think there are some things that you have, once again, you go through so many things and you have so much more experience and years and time behind you than you had before, that if someone before, when you were a kid, if someone wasn't nice to you, it was really tough to get over that.
Yeah,
As
I
far as
agree.
losing them as a friend potentially was a tougher thing. Whereas now you can just like, this is just one person out of hundreds of people I've known. This is not that bad. You can let go easy. You could, the things and words that people say to hurt you can still affect you, but not as much, not nearly as bad.
Right.
You can, like, I've known hundreds of people, both good and bad, and in the grand scheme of things, that after all this time, there's only so many people now.
Yeah, and the thing is too is it's like when I remember. I mean, I don't think I dated a lot. I didn't date a lot, and I dated one person when I was actually in high school. And it's like when me and him broke up, it was like, oh my god, like you know how when did you date in high school?
Not very much, hardly.
But you know how when somebody breaks up with you, you're like devastated.
Yeah,
like
I remember those.
Devastating.
It is.
I don't even think we dated that long. Maybe a month, maybe 2 months. I remember I was devastated. Like, I'm never gonna. You know what I mean? When you're 14, it's different. But it's like, then, fast forward, I'm, 30, going through a divorce, and I was kind of like, you know what? He ain't gonna hear this far into this video. But I'm like, you know what? I am fine. After, like, because I feel like with stuff like that, though, you start processing it before it happens.
Right.
But I'm like, I'm good. Like, I am, like I said earlier in this podcast, I'm really good at just being like, family, friend, doesn't matter, coworker. When I'm done, I'm done. And we're not going back. And I'm going to make sure we don't go back, because I'm going to, sometimes to my own detriment, say something that I can't take back. You know what I mean? I'm really good at just being like, I'm not talking to you. It doesn't matter if you're family or not. If I'm going to protect my peace. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I feel like that's gotten easier, as you're saying, as an adult. That I'm more likely to be like, no, I'm not talking to this person anymore. I don't care if they're family.
Yeah. You can put you have better boundaries.
Because you're an adult. You can be like, I'm an adult. I'm making an adult decision. And my adult decision is that I am almost 40. And if I don't want to talk to this person or this person, blood or not, I'm not doing it.
Right. I find there's many ways in which I'm a people pleaser, and I still am in some ways.
Oh yeah, I am kind of to a point too.
But over time, I've gotten a lot more comfortable being assertive and saying no.
Right. I've noticed that about you.
There was that one experience where that one lady, we put something in the dumpster. I don't know if you remember this. That was at the old place. There was something in the dumpster, and the lady was looking in there and wanted me to get it out. She was basically hinting, and I said, "Oh, that's too bad."
And he walks away.
Where the old me would have been like, "Okay, I'm gonna go in there.
I'm gonna jump in the dumpster for you and get it out." And yeah, but I think that a lot of that though with you is like I've told you, like we don't have to do that. Like you don't have to do that.
And I think it's a good thing to have someone like Michelle, which haven't had a lot, which gives you moral permission to be like, this is okay. This is okay.
It's okay to not do this.
Because my mom was a very passive person, and my dad was very aggressive. And somewhere in the middle is a healthy level of assertiveness, but I just don't know where the lines are.
Right.
And so I would rather be passive because of the two. My mom they both had messed up lives, but my mom had the better life of the two, so I err on the side of passiveness.
Right, you do, yeah.
And every once in a while I find that healthy level of assertiveness where I can say no and not be mean about it or bad or anything, but still say no and then have boundaries and be like, no, I'm not going to do this.
Yeah, like, you'll have times where I'll be like, do you want to go with me here? And you'll be like, no. But if I come to you, I always ask you.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, half the time sometimes I don't. Sometimes I'm like, we're going here. Because I know you're not going to want to go. You know what I mean? But like today, when I was going to Spirit Halloween, I know you like Spirit Halloween, so I
Yeah,
asked you, "Do you
yeah,
want to go?" And you said no. But if it was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go look at costumes for us,"
yeah,
and I didn't say that explicitly, I will come to you and say,
yeah.
"Hey, it's really important that you go with me to help me. Can you like get ready to go, or what's a good time?" I won't force you, but I'll let you know.
This is
You don't
important.
have to go, but it would be important to me if you did.
Yeah,
And then you're like, okay, I'll go. Because you don't want to, you know what I mean? You don't want to miss out on anything. But the thing is you have to be able, and that's another thing that's easier as an adult than it is as a kid, is being able to communicate your needs. Like, I know that this is not your favorite thing. And yeah, it's probably going to turn into 5 other things when we leave. But I would like you to come here with me because it's important to me. I want to spend time with you or whatever, whatever.
yeah,
Because 9 times out of 10, if I was to say, hey, Nick, you want to go out for, a couple hours, you'd say no.
yeah.
9 times out of 10, you'll say no. But if I came to you and be like, hey, I really want to spend time together. Do you want to go to In-N-Out and get a burger? Then you'll say yes.
Yeah, it could be like we try to have a date night every once in a while, at
Yeah, we
least
haven't
one.
had one in a while,
Even
but
if it's just going to the store.
yeah,
Like
we do that once a week. Yeah,
like even if it doesn't have to be like we go to the movies and do all this stuff and
we'll literally go to storage, get our sales, and then go to the grocery store. And that's like to us, that's like it's fun. It's just the two of us.
yeah.
Talk about whatever we want. We both know each other's limits. Like sometimes we're in Walmart and I'm like, you're going down this aisle by yourself.
There's too many people.
Because
Yeah.
there are too many people here. Like we went on the 3rd the other day. We never go on a Tuesday. Remember that?
That was the worst.
He was off and we never go on a Tuesday. And it was the day that people's Social Security hit. And I was finally towards the end. I'm like, Nick. And you do have a limit where you're like, I'm done. But you will not vocalize it.
Yeah.
But me, I've got to the point now where I'm like, if we do not get the F out of this freaking store in the next 5 minutes, I will start taking people out with my cart. And I would never do it. But you get to that point where I'm like, I have no patience and I need to go. And because I'm going to lose patience with you because I can't lose patience with all these Walmart workers.
Right.
And I try to say now though, this is not and I think that is easier as an adult. Now that you're an adult, you can say, look, I know I'm upset because you've had life experiences.
Yeah.
And I know that I am not handling this well, and this is not about you. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I'll yell at you, and I'll say, this is not your fault. However, look.
And I'll be there to listen to you vent.
Yeah.
And I'll be there to,
And you've gotten better about not taking it like, oh, this is a personal attack on me, let me fix it. Because I'll be like, I don't need you to fix this.
Yeah, sometimes I'll ask, sure, sometimes you'll tell me this is not a need to fix it type of thing. This is you just listen.
Listen to me, bitch, because
Yeah.
But that gets easier the older you get, is being able to vocalize, these are my needs. This is what I need. Or like he'll message me, I'm burnt out today or whatever. I'll try to do the dishes before you get home. Like the other day, I knew you were tired. You messaged me, I'm burnt out, I'm so sleepy. I thought, okay, I'm tired too, but I'll go to storage and I'll get the sales myself. I had 9 things to find. I'll get the sales myself. I'll package them myself. I'll go get to the Goodwill and drop the stuff off myself. You know what I mean? Like, I'll do all this myself, these things I can do.
Yeah, she's very thoughtful.
And then you can come home and just relax. I made you dinner, you watch YouTube, and you recharge. Now, not every time is going to be like that, but when I can, I do.
Yeah, she's very thoughtful and she's very supportive that way. It's one of the many things I love about her is she'll do that. Because I'm mentally thinking, okay, I'm going to help her when I get off or do the dishes or do this or that. And then to not have to do that it helps.
And I'll be like, guess what? You get in the car. You don't have to do anything except for sit down on your butt and watch YouTube.
I think, speaking of YouTube, and that's one of the other things, as a kid, you could spend big chunks on something. Like, that was easier as a kid. You could spend, like, I remember spending 10 hours playing video games straight, just 10 hours.
Yep.
And every once in a rare while as an adult, I'll do that. But everything is so much more in small bits and pieces, like watching... YouTube reminded me of it, watching clips of movies versus the whole movie.
Right.
And there's a lot of movies that are like that, where the clips of the movie, certain clips are good, but not the whole. The Dark Knight is one of those ones, where if you watch the whole movie, it drags on, it goes on forever. But I watch like the Joker clips every once in a while. Most movies are like that. There's very rare. There's like maybe 10 movies I could watch all the way through and be fine, more than once.
Yeah.
But everything is so split up, like little bits and pieces of time and chunks, rather than big chunks of time spent on stuff.
Yeah, and that's hard too, because there's a lot of times I'm like, oh, I wish I could just finish this. But I can't sit here for 6 hours and do it. I have other stuff I could be doing. And it's the same thing with the podcast.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I love doing this. This is so fun. It's like a date in and of itself.
Right.
Just sit here for an hour and record something that's like, there's sometimes you're sitting here like, I could be doing this or this or this. And that's what happened the last 4 months.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we want to do the podcast. This is fun. It's like we could be playing Stardew Valley, or we could be, you know what I mean?
Yeah, we got into playing Stardew Valley again together.
Yeah.
And it's really fun, especially with the 1.6 update stuff where you can upgrade your house and all kinds of stuff.
Sorry, guys.
More
Jack.
rooms and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're having a lot of fun playing the game, so it's tough.
It's tough because you wish you could multitask and do it, but like I have books that I would love to read. I would love to read them, but I also have to do things on the computer. So it's like, yeah, and I have that text to speech. It's not as good.
Right. And I think that's one of the other things as a kid. You don't have all these responsibilities and things you have to do.
That was
Sorry.
your phone.
Or I thought I turned it off, the ringer.
That was yours, wasn't it? It wasn't mine.
Yeah, I had it on. I'm sorry, guys.
Wow. See how he is?
I should have done that next time. The notification, I hope it wasn't too loud for you guys. But as a kid, you don't have as many responsibilities. You might have to go to school.
Yeah.
But you don't have, like, most children. Some children probably do, depending on how it goes. You have, like, laundry or dishes, or you have to do this, or you have to get groceries, or all this. You might have chores. That might be the same thing. But as an adult, you tend to have more responsibilities that take up bigger chunks of your time.
Yeah.
You guys can't see this, but Jack is getting climbing up Michelle right now. He's our cat that we have.
But yeah, I just wish we had more time in a day.
Yeah, that's why I'm hoping for.
You know what else was
I would love to work
easier
4
as a kid?
10s that we could be off 3 days. That would be great.
You know what else was easier as a kid than as an adult? Sleeping.
Sleeping, yeah. Sleeping is one of those
One of
other
those
things.
basic things that you're just like, I could sleep through the whole night when I was a kid.
I used to sleep a really, really
Yeah,
long
you did.
time.
It was
A
ridiculous.
really long time. I'm talking 12 hours to sometimes 24 hours. Some days I would sleep 24 hours. And it wasn't one big chunk. I would wake up for like a minute or so and then go back to sleep and then sleep for another 8 hours. But I would sleep, and now most of the time I get maybe 7.5 hours to 9 hours.
And you function pretty well.
And I function pretty well based on that time.
But at least you have family now, too.
Yeah.
It's not like we're like, you can't sleep, you have to get up, but you want to spend time with your family.
Yeah.
Same.
And I don't miss the sleep, all that. There's sometimes I wake up and I'm really tired. I'm like, I wish I would have gotten 2 more hours of sleep. There's, especially work days are like that sometimes.
Because you have to get up at 5.
Yeah. But there's other time, most of the time I don't miss I definitely don't miss sleeping 18 hours. I don't miss that, but
I would wake up and feel like I got hit by a truck.
it's one of those things where now I don't think I could do it even if I tried.
No, I don't think you could either, because you haven't done it in almost 9 years.
I'm so acclimated to things. And I think that's the other thing too, is when you're a kid, change is really tough.
Yeah.
And as an adult, change can still be hard, but it does get easier over time. You can get acclimated to things.
I feel like you're more like fluid.
Like here, it took me a while, but now, like, before we moved here, I would think 90 degrees, that's really, really hot. But now I'm thinking 90 degrees, it's actually kind of...
yeah!
It's actually getting cooler now.
What is it right now outside?
It's only 90 degrees and the
Yeah.
low is like 70.
It's so funny. 102.
Yeah. Look how cold it is.
102, that's it?
Look how cool it is today. But it's one of those, I imagine that it's probably the opposite way in, like, say, Alaska or something.
It's gonna be 77 tonight.
Wow, that's not for us.
We're gonna be out there at 6 a.m. when it's 77 degrees, dancing around in snowsuits.
Yeah, it's not quite sweater weather yet, even for us, but
Right.
it is a good break after having it be like 120 as the high and like 90 as the low. To have it
That's the only thing about out here. Is that it does, yeah, in California at nighttime, it's like, even in the summer, it's going to be like 70, 80 degrees at night. It does not get easier out here in the nighttime. It's hot all day and it's hot at night too. Like, you're not going out in the morning like, oh, it's brisk. No, you're sweating. It doesn't matter what time of day it is.
I think it's the lack of humidity.
Yeah.
I'm not a meteorologist, but I think the humidity
Is what cools. That's the
Yeah.
moisture in the air. That's what cools you down. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes the hots hotter and the colds colder as far as how you feel, at
Right.
least based on my very limited understanding. But that's just anecdotally of what I've experienced.
Yeah.
It seems like that. But yeah, I've got more acclimated. You get more used to things like the less sleep I had now versus back then.
It's not like you're taking naps either. Like, I'll be like, you want to lay down? Yeah, let's take a nap. He's like, no, I'm good. Like, I'll just play something. But it's because you don't have so much time, too. I mean, we get in the bed early.
And that's one of the phenomenons that also people talked about, and I've seen in articles here and there, I think, where you have more time behind you than you used to before. So things seem to go by quicker, like the years go by quicker.
Yeah.
Because you have less first time experiences, novel experiences. And so things stand out a lot less and they kind of blur together.
Like, you're gonna, like, what first time experiences do we still have coming? That we've never done before.
Well, there was a couple of them, and that's going to be in an upcoming episode. Things on our bucket list that we want to do before we go.
That'll be the next one.
I was thinking about the next one, but there are things that I would like to do before, you know,
the end of time.
Yeah, before the end of time, or
your time.
Yeah, my time. Yeah.
We don't need to talk about it.
Yeah, I know.
No, I'm just gonna spiral into.
I know, but things we would like to do that we haven't done yet, which would be fun to do.
Yeah.
And we're probably not going to do all of them, but at least some of them we hope to do.
Well, I mean, it's good to have, like, goals.
Yeah, it's good to have goals of things that you would like to do. Oh, that's good. We're at an hour? We're at an hour and 2 minutes.
All right.
So I don't know if we're going to make each one of these an hour, or if you guys would rather have it be half an hour. We might
I feel like a half an hour we could not have stopped.
Yeah, we could not have stopped. Unless it's like just one idea only, maybe we can make it fit.
Is that we start talking about other stuff. And I feel like it's natural, though. It's like a natural progression of the conversation. I've had a good time.
Yeah.
Like, I enjoyed it.
I feel like
I could probably go again, but maybe we can do one tomorrow.
I feel like I could go on for another hour if I wanted to.
Please.
And maybe for a special we'll do that.
I feel like the dogs...
We'll do a 2-hour
They started getting rowdy in the beginning, and the more we talked, Pete was over there with his mouth open. Sleeping, like... Is that ASMR, Pete? Yeah. So, that's this episode back. If you guys watched or listened to this point in the episode, we appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you guys for your patience and your understanding and sticking with us.
And my goal is once a week vlog or once a week video of some sort. We have a taste test video coming and stuff like that. And then twice a month podcast. Yeah. So we have 2 weeks basically to film the next one. You know what I mean?
That'd be good.
So that is the plan so far for this channel. We're going to get it going again.
Yep.
I'm excited.
And Vlogmas, I don't know if we're going to be doing Vlogmas or not, but at that time of year, there's a lot of pressure.
It's a lot of pressure, though. It's hard to do Vlogmas because you got to do a video every single day, and I'm like, I would run out of stuff to talk about.
Yeah, you would run out of ideas of what to do and what to say.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one thing if that's like your full-time job is being like a vlogger.
Yeah.
And you can do that, which would be great to do. Then we could come up with ideas. But on top of everything that we have already, and that, this is basically our hobby at this point. We just,
In April, we're gonna go on a trip though. We should vlog that for my 40th.
that would be fun.
That would be fun. We're
Yeah.
gonna go to Henderson.
Yep.
That would be fun.
That would be fun. So, is there anything else you want to say
No,
before
I
we
think
end the
we're good.
episode?
But thank you guys again, and like I said, we are coming back. We're gonna be doing these more often. So we'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody. Thank you for listening.